Put this.
For what?
Listen, I'm trying to be nice. I have you on camera. Don't resist.
I have a
Listen,
receipt.
it's fine. I know. You gotta resist. You on the phone with your girls. Why? Don't resist me. This
Wait,
is extra
could I talk-
charges. This is extra charges. You know that.
I'm asking you though.
And that's what I'm telling you.
But you said my stuff.
You know what party to a crime is?
No, that's not party to a crime, and we're not all in the same car.
No. But you all came here as a group together with a plan.
From the very moment the security camera footage begins to roll, this story is already over. The outcome was decided long before the handcuffs came out, long before the voice shifted from confidence to panic, and long before the word "mom" suddenly became the most important word in the room. What we are witnessing is not simply a shoplifting arrest. It is a sharp snapshot of a much bigger issue repeating itself across the United States.
I'm sorry. You know what time it is. Come on. Stop playing with me.
What are you talking about?
Put this down for me.
For what?
Put this.
For what?
Listen, I'm trying to be nice. I have you on camera. Don't resist.
I have a receipt.
It's fine. I know. You gotta resist. You on the phone with your girls. Why? Don't resist me. This
Wait,
is
could
extra
I talk
charges.
to you first?
This is extra charges. You know it, right?
Can I talk
I know
to
you're
you
out here with
first?
your friends. This is extra
I'm by
charges.
myself.
Listen,
Could I please
it's
talk to
too
you?
late. I gave you a chance. You kept looking at me.
No, I
Yeah, the whole time. You and your friends that's outside right now.
There's nobody outside.
Listen, you guys playing me for a fool. I do this all the time.
Okay.
Turn around. Put your hands on your back for me.
Can I put my phone?
Just put it right here for me. Right there. Why you see me all day and you decided to do this. You should just walked out the stove. All day. You kept looking at me walking around the stove. Come back here now. I'll try to help you out, man. I'll try to help people out all the time doing this
Can I
stuff.
call my mom, please? Can I call my mom?
You want your mom now?
I said, could I call?
Entitlement, the feeling of having special rights without responsibility, confidence without consequences, and the false belief that rules can bend just because someone sounds polite enough or looks harmless enough. On April 8, 2023, what seemed like a normal shopping trip at Dillard's turned into a slow, painful collapse of bad decisions. A young woman walked into the store with friends, phone in hand, scattered laughter, completely at ease. Nothing about the scene looked criminal. And that is exactly the point. Most retail theft today doesn't look like masked smash-and-grab crimes. It looks exactly like this. A group walks in together. They spread out, one eye on the merchandise, the other on the exits. They text, they call, they signal, and they mistakenly believe no one is really paying attention, but someone always is watching. Loss prevention noticed her long before she realized trouble was coming. The officer later makes that very clear. He didn't just catch her, he observed her, tracked her movements, read her eye contact, hesitation, body language, the way she circled the store, the way she realized she was being watched, and instead of leaving, instead of putting the items back, instead of choosing the one decision that could have ended everything quietly, she kept going. This is where the psychological side begins to show. What follows is not panic from being caught, but disbelief. She is genuinely shocked that the situation is real, shocked that smiling doesn't work, shocked that talking doesn't stop the process, shocked that saying, "Can I just pay for it?" doesn't turn time backward. In retail theft cases, especially involving young adults who appear normal, there is often a belief that consequences can be avoided, negotiated, or begged away. The officer gives her chance after chance. That is not an exaggeration. He warns her not to resist. He clearly states there are cameras. He calmly explains that resisting will only add charges. He tries to slow everything down before it escalates. But instead of listening, she keeps going, keeps arguing, keeps changing her story. At one moment, she says she was alone. Then she had friends. Then she doesn't know them. Then she was just on the phone. Then it was her brother. Then her niece. The details constantly change because the truth was never solid to begin with. This is when exhaustion becomes visible. Not anger, not cruelty. Exhaustion. The worn-down patience of someone who has had this exact conversation hundreds of times. The officer does not yell, does not insult her, does not threaten her. He simply repeats reality over and over, while she responds as if reality itself can be argued away. She asks for a warning. The officer shuts that down immediately. Theft.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, so next time when you see cops around, we already know what's going on. Just drop and try something. Go to the store or something. Yeah. I hate doing paperwork. You make me do paperwork right now.
I thought you said if it's under 500, I won't go.
Well, that's why I was looking for your friends. We got everything back. You know what I mean?
But it's not over 500.
I know, but the stuff what your friends have too.
They don't. That don't have nothing to do with me.
But all y'all, that's all part of a crime.
It's not all in the same car though.
Listen, I ain't trying to get you mad. I'm just letting you know how stuff go. You know what I'm saying? I'm just doing my job.
I'm asking you though.
And that's what I'm telling you.
But you said my stuff.
You know what party to a crime is?
No, that's not party to a crime, and we not all in the same car.
No. But you all came here as a group together with a plan.
How I walked
You
in
guys
by
are,
myself.
yeah, but you guys are on the phone with each other. Like I said, listen, I ain't trying to be rude, but this ain't the first rodeo we doing this stuff.
I'm sitting here telling you.
All y'all came in together as a plan. That's why you told me your friend put this stuff down when she saw me, right?
But
See, I'm trying to help you out, but you're lying. I don't like people that lie to me, and that's why I try to help people out, especially. But I don't like when they lie to me.
You listen to what I'm saying?
I am listening to you.
If I just told you she put it back, how are you saying?
That's one of them. I'm talking about you came here, but you came here.
I don't know her. That's her friend. I was not on the phone with her. I was on the phone with one girl. And
Why do you have kids?
I don't.
Why what were you selling that stuff for?
My niece.
How old are you? 21.
Yes.
I tried. Listen, it ain't no warning with these things. You know how many people still here all the time, and these businesses lose money. It ain't me. No. I'm trying to help you out, but
how you know?
Because I was in the area, I try to get you to drop the thing.
I'm saying you told me if it's under 500, it
is not a traffic violation. Businesses lose billions of dollars every year to retail theft, and that money doesn't disappear into thin air. It raises prices, forces store closures. Communities pay the price, whether they want to admit it or not. That is why stores press charges, not out of spite, but out of survival. And once that decision is made, the officer's role is procedural, not emotional. Yet, she still doesn't understand. She keeps asking to call her mom. She keeps asking to pay, keeps asking to leave. It is the language of someone who has never truly been told no in a final way. When she realizes jail is a possibility, softer, quieter, weaker. But even then, responsibility does not fully appear. The concern is not, I was wrong, but how do I get out of this? There is a moment when the officer explains the concept of being a party to a crime, that going together matters, planning together matters, communicating during the act matters. This part makes many viewers uncomfortable because they suddenly realize how thin the line really is. You don't have to physically steal something to be charged. You don't have to walk out with merchandise in your hands. If you come together, act together, coordinate together. She keeps arguing, says they weren't in the same car, says she walked alone, says others didn't take anything. The officer listens, nods, and calmly breaks it down, piece by piece. He mentions the phone calls, the timing.
You been arrested before at all? Oh, good.
Well, it's a holiday weekend, so nothing's gonna
What else you got in here? Let me check. You got anything else in here? You take anything? What about this watch? I just gotta ask. Don't get mad at me. So, like I said, you are being arrested for it, but you're not going to jail. It's a misdemeanor. They're going to send a subpoena to that address right there. So that's going to make sure that's your address, because if you don't go to the jail's court date that they send to you, they'll cut warrants out for your arrest for contempt court. You know what that is? Contempt? Okay. So he used to go to court and explain that that go in front of the judge and explain what happened today, and or Matt will be there, me or him will be there, have to testify. Most likely they have cameras all over here, and they'll probably just show all that stuff anyways. But you have anything, man? So like I said, you're banned from here. If you come back in here, I'll explain that not them, us, we will be able to arrest you at any time for stepping on their property. So just stay away from it altogether. All right. You have any questions for us? All right.
And the line, "This isn't the first time," hits hard because it exposes an uncomfortable truth. This kind of theft is routine, not rare, not shocking, routine. What makes this case stand out is not the value of the items, under $500. Not a felony, just a misdemeanor. She isn't even going to jail that day. But the consequences are still very real. Banned from the store. Cited. Required to appear in court. If she doesn't show up, a warrant will be issued. One small decision is enough to send life in a different direction. There is another detail that makes viewers uneasy. She works at a hospital, in the emergency department. At registration, an environment built on trust, responsibility, and integrity. The officer does not shame her. He simply mentions it, almost sadly, as if saying, "You have more to lose than you think." And that is the quiet tragedy here. Not that she was caught, but that she didn't stop herself. Throughout the interaction, she constantly shifts between confidence and playing the victim, sometimes arguing, sometimes begging, sometimes accusing the officer of being rough, sometimes insisting she is calm. The emotional swings reflect a larger issue in modern accountability culture. Many people are taught how to express feelings, but not how to accept consequences. They know how to say, "I'm sorry," but not how to take responsibility. They know how to explain, but not how to admit fault. By the end, even the officer's sarcasm sounds tired, not malicious, just tired. Like a teacher grading the same wrong answer at midnight. He explains the court process, the subpoena, the importance of showing up, and the reality that cameras will speak for her in front of a judge. This is not just a story about a spoiled kid for entertainment. It is a warning. It shows how fast entitlement collapses when it hits reality, how confidence turns into confusion, how charm cannot beat evidence. It also reflects a very real frustration in American society today. And this is only the beginning of what follows. When there is no way back, what angers viewers most is not the initial theft, but the constant avoidance of responsibility. Every sentence, every explanation, every changing story reveals a dangerous belief. Talk enough, sound smooth enough, use the right tone, and the law will soften. But America does not work that way. And the officer in the video represents that cold but necessary boundary. He repeatedly explains that the store is pressing charges, not the police. This is a critical detail many people choose not to understand. Police don't arrest for fun, and they don't pick on people. Once a business decides to prosecute, everything moves into the legal process. Emotions, pleading, and tears no longer have legal value. What remains is paperwork, cameras, and statements. She clings to the $500 number like a life raft. Under $500 means no jail. Under $500 means release. Under $500 means it's fine. This is a very common misunderstanding. While value affects severity, it never means nothing happens. A misdemeanor is still a criminal record, still paperwork, still a court date, still a risk to employment, education, and the future. But in that moment, she sees only one goal: avoiding handcuffs. Again, the officer tries to explain. He talks about the subpoena, about how failing to appear leads to a warrant, about how even a simple traffic stop later can end in arrest for contempt of court. This is not a threat. It is legal reality in the United States. And the frightening part is how many people only learn this after it is too late. When he asks about her address, his tone becomes more serious, not out of anger, but because this is critical. A wrong address means no subpoena. No subpoena means no court appearance. No appearance means a warrant. An entire chain of consequences can start from one small lie. That is why he emphasizes, "I don't like liars." Not personally, but because lies always make things worse in the legal system. There is a moment worth reflecting on when the officer mentions he is also a detective during the day. This is not bragging. It is a quiet warning that what is happening is not a joke. This is not a casual conversation. This is a link in a system where false information always comes back to hurt the person who gave it. She keeps pleading, keeps asking for help, keeps making promises. Yet contradictions continue to surface. At one point, she claims she has never been arrested. Later, resistance becomes clear. She says she is calm. Then accuses the officer of grabbing her too hard. All of it is on camera. And in the legal system, cameras have no emotions, no sympathy, and are not persuaded by soft voices. The officer explains why he restrained her quickly to prevent injuries. This is a point many viewers overlook. Any resistance, even minor, increases the risk of harm. One slip, one twisted arm, and everything can spiral. That is why stay calm from the beginning is not a cliché. It is survival advice. When the store ban is mentioned, she goes quiet. Being banned from a store sounds minor, but legally it is a clear boundary. Stepping onto that property again can lead to immediate arrest for trespassing. No theft required. No argument needed. Simply being there. Near the end, the officer asks if she has any questions. It is a procedural question. It shows his job is done. No more negotiating, no more arguing, just instructions and closure. The fatigue in his voice is unmistakable, not because of her personally. When they step into the parking lot, one small detail says everything. Her friends are gone. The people who walked in together, laughed together, and planned together are nowhere to be found. She stands alone, facing personal consequences for a group decision. It is a familiar lesson. When trouble comes, crowds disappear quickly. The officer asks about the cars, the friends, who came with whom, not out of curiosity, but because items are missing and reports must be complete. She answers nervously, inconsistently. The more she speaks, the clearer the inconsistency becomes. Even viewers feel confused. This is where many viewers feel the most anger. Not because she lies, but because she believes lying enough will work. But she is not dealing with someone easily fooled. She is dealing with someone who has heard hundreds of versions of the same story. Patience here is no longer kindness. It is professional duty. The line, "Whether I speak well of you to the judge depends on what happens here," lands like a final boundary. It shows a simple truth attitude. Cooperation and honesty still matter, but only when matched with behavior. And unfortunately, even then, she still does not fully understand. Everything is closing, but the impact lingers. When the incident finally ends, what remains is not the handcuffs, not the paperwork, not the legal warnings. What remains is a familiar feeling for many Americans watching these videos: exhaustion. Exhaustion from the same behaviors repeating. Exhaustion from the same denial, excuses, and blame. Exhaustion from the growing gap between demanded rights and accepted responsibility. The officer no longer tries to convince her. He doesn't need to. The file is complete. The cameras are clear. The statements are taken. His only task is to finish the process and make sure she understands one thing. The court will decide the rest. And the American legal system, slow or fast, will eventually function as it always does. When he reminds her of her obligation to appear in court, his tone is no longer heavy, but cautionary. He knows many young people underestimate subpoenas. They think forgetting is harmless. They think not receiving mail means no problem. But the law does not operate on personal assumptions. Contempt warrants do not care how small the original charge was. Failure to comply brings consequences. In the final moments, she argues less. Instead, there is confusion, fragmentation, long silence. This is often when reality starts to sink in, when all words have been used, when all pleading fails, when truth can no longer be avoided. Sadly, realization often comes too late. The image of her standing alone in the parking lot, no friends, no group, no support, is powerful. It makes viewers both angry and sympathetic. It captures the truth of irresponsible group behavior. When risk appears, everyone runs for their own exit. The officer does one last check, one last question. Not to pressure her, but to close the file properly. He knows that from this point on, words no longer matter. In court, emotion will not speak. Evidence will. Not tears, but data. Not shaky voices, but camera angles. For American audiences, the biggest frustration is this: everything here was avoidable. There was no coercion, no desperation, no unavoidable circumstance, only a chain of bad choices and a false belief that there would be no price to pay. And that belief angers viewers more than the theft itself. This story reflects a broader issue in modern American society. Many people grow up where mistakes always have a soft exit, where everything can be negotiated, where consequences are delayed or minimized. But when they enter the real world, especially the legal system, those exits disappear. The law does not care how you feel. It only cares what you did. The video spreads not because it is shocking. Daily arguments about personal responsibility, discipline, and the line between empathy and enabling. And many realize that if those lines keep fading, stories like this will only become more common. From this perspective, the officer is not the main character. Neither is the young woman alone. The real central character is the consequence of a culture that minimizes responsibility while expecting privilege. When those collide, the result is always conflict, disappointment, and dead ends. This is not a story meant for laughter. It is a cold reminder that every action, no matter how small, leaves a trace. Cameras do not forget, records do not disappear, and words spoken in panic cannot erase what happened before. For anyone watching and thinking, this would never happen to me, that confidence is the most dangerous part, because nearly everyone who ends up in this situation once believed the same thing. And that is why the story ends here, but its lesson does not. Thank you for watching this story to the very end. If you found it worth reflecting on, take 1 second to subscribe so you don't miss real-life stories, hard lessons, and honest perspectives happening every day. Your subscription is not just support, it helps the channel continue delivering meaningful and watchable content. Wishing everyone peace, clarity in decision-making, and see you in the next video.
Silver Corolla or white one?
You ain't lying to us, right?
I'm not.
Okay, I'm just asking. I'm gonna walk out there with you just to make sure. You ain't lying to me, right?